to win this year's championship as well. Neither club has ever won an A-League Grand Final. Melbourne City came in the 2010-11 season. The Wanderers, a couple of years after that, have gone so close in Grand Finals. Melbourne City beaten in last year's decider. Right now, they look like the two teams to beat in the A-League as they try and hunt down the Mariners, who top the table at the moment. If City win, they'll climb to second and be just the point off top spot, while the Wanderers can join the Mariners on 25 points and need a 3-goal victory tonight to go top outright. Let's check the team news for you. And Nuno Reis is out through injury, so Roston Griffiths will play in the heart of defence, and Adrian Luna is the inclusion. We saw this the other night when Reis was forced off. It's a different dynamic for opposition teams to contend with. Griffiths, as he revealed in the pre-game, prefers to play in the heart of defence in this team. The Wanderers, unsurprisingly, are unchanged, and what a week it has been for their young left wing-back, the 20-year-old Daniel Wilmering, who's been there every step of the way as a ball boy for the club's opening game way back in 2012. Then through the academy, a scholarship deal has now been upgraded to a 2-year full-time contract. What a moment for him after battling back from that ACL injury. It's Abini and Duke up top for Western Sydney, and this man leads the line for Melbourne City. 90 goals now in his A-League career. It's 83 in his past 100 games, and look at that record against tonight's opponent. 15 in 14 against them. He is quite simply a goal scorer. And this guy is in form as well, both bidding to be part of that next Socceroos squad. 4 goals in 6 games for Mitch Duke since returning from the Middle East. And what about the battle of the Ollie Roos candidates as well? Connor Metcalf in midfield against Keanu Bacchus tonight. Those two young men may just be vying for a spot, or they could go together to Japan later this year to represent Australia's Olympic side. And who is the best right back in the country? Nathaniel Atkinson. The young man really hitting his straps with Melbourne City at the moment. And he's going head to head in that role, if you like, with another 21-year-old Tate Russell, who many believe has been the standout in that position so far in this campaign. Andy Harper is alongside for the call. There's so much to look forward to tonight.
Speedy, I was just really enjoying the way you diced all that up. Great talent on show tonight, and good talent in good form. Two teams as collectives really hitting some heights. It does set it up beautifully, and the man about to take the kick off, Jamie McLaren, is just such a fantastic striker, and you take your eye off him for a second as the Wanderers, under Carl Robertson's leadership tonight, will have to make sure they don't do, or else he'll surely punish them.
Away we go in Friday night football. Melbourne City are purring along beautifully at the moment. 5 wins straight, an aggregate of 16 goals to 2 in those fixtures as well. Can the Wanderers contain them here at Amy Park? Right on the front foot, the home team. Atkinson trying a little trick over Graham Dorrans. Here's Wilmering, gave it back to Metcalf. And Naboot has been a real handful on the right-hand side. Wanderers take it away through Bacchus, but can't string too many passes together so far, the visitors. Now Noon whipping one in early, and off Ziggy Gordon for an early corner.
Well, interesting start to the match. Not quite the minute in, but from the kickoff, Daniel Wilmering is pretty adamant that Andrew Naboot fouled him in that challenge for the high ball. And ever since, Melbourne City have been able to keep City penned in, culminating in this corner.
They met earlier this month, Melbourne City winning at Bankwest 2-0. Now the return bout as Noon delivers and Margush punches well clear. He's been working on that aspect of his game. Whipped back around the corner by Jamison. Would have been offside, you'd fancy, against Craig Noon, who will stay on the right-hand side for now. The Wanderers winless in their past 8 games here at Amy Park. Melbourne City, on the other hand, have won 4 out of 5 at this venue this season and only beaten once in their past 11. What a beautiful playing surface it is turned out for tonight's massive contest. Here's Berenguer. The boot having a go on that left-hand side, and McLaren was hesitating. Knew that ball favoured the keeper. Late challenge by Berenguer on Bacchus that Alex King eventually decided to whistle for.
Yeah, it's almost like the ref got his whistle lost in his pocket. It's a strange delay. Right decision.
Just waiting to see whether the advantage accrued and thought they'd be better off with a free kick belatedly.
I'm sure that's the case. The ball was going square across the back line.
Look at Duke's athleticism, but he couldn't get back to his feet. And Naboot tries to slide it through. Noon was on the back foot. And Wilmering played it cleverly enough. Youthful left side of that Wanderers defence. Mark Natter part of the back three, and then Wilmering in that wing back role. There's the veteran Jamison. Adrian Luna. Atkinson at speed. The Uruguayan. Now in behind, Nathaniel Atkinson standing it up to the back post, and Tate Russell told to deal with it by Margush.
Well, one team started according to the form guide, but only one of them. Wanderers really yet to get out of the dressing sheds, and they're courting danger. City have started quite sharply. And even in the end, that defensive header from Tate Russell was not that convincing.
Good, trying to track it down in flight and onto the top of the bar. Was there a touch off Margush? No, there wasn't. Goal kick.
It's the furrowed brow of Curtis Good that asked the question of the ref. I suspected there was a touch from the keeper. Myself, no. On replay, I go with the ref. It was a close thing.
Very nearly the late birthday present for the man who turned 28 on Tuesday, Curtis Good, who's only scored the 2 A-League goals. The Wanderers venture into enemy territory for the first time, nearly 5 minutes in. Archie Thompson, what have you made of the start?
Look, we all know that Melbourne City like to start really strong and put teams under pressure, and it's working to their game plan at the moment. For Western Sydney, they just need to get hold of the ball, and it's always difficult when you have got a team that puts such a high pressure on, but the pitch is looking really slick. It's a little bit wet underfoot, so you might see a lot of players just slip early stages of this one, but Melbourne City is starting with intent.
They have scored 13 goals without reply since copping that 90th minute consolation goal against Sydney FC. It's the best sequence of unanswered goals ever in a single A-League season. The Wanderers end that run tonight. Four clean sheets in a row kept by City, managed by the former centre half in Paddy Kisnorbo, who was absent through illness last time these teams squared off. Now he's playing ball boy tonight. He also went head-to-head with Carl Robinson back in 2006 in the English Championship, and Robinson got the better of Kisnorbo a couple of times, including scoring in one of Norwich City's wins against Leicester City. Coming for the foul, and he's earned it here, Craig Noon.
Not coping, the Wanderers at all. Not coping with the pressure from Melbourne City. And it's not as though, and Archie Thompson alluded to this, it's not as though they wouldn't have been warned of it. There's no surprise about the Melbourne City press. The Wanderers caught with their pants down so far. One close thing, ball grazing the crossbar from the last corner of the Curtis Good head. And now a free kick deep into Wanderers territory.
Whipped in by Noon and away by Abini. Good was encouraged to shoot, but did the discipline thing. And now Metcalf has been pulling the strings in midfield. Naboot took on the strike with Wilmering in the road. Broken up by Bacchus. He's done that a couple of times for the team in black tonight. Yeah, they're all too aware of the Melbourne City press, of course. Last time they met, it was a mistake that Melbourne City pounced upon as the Wanderers tried to play out from the back. It led to the opening goal for Jamie McLaren. Down this side. This time they strung the passes together. The mistake came from Tate Russell. Metcalf, classy ball around the corner to his Olyroos teammate in Atkinson. Naboot whipping it into a dangerous area, and this time McGowan coughs up the corner.
Yeah, it's a great start for Melbourne City. Super pressure. And in the end, somewhere along the Wanderers chain, someone's going to crack, and in the last sequence it was Tate Russell. He had a couple of good touches in that sequence beforehand. Here's Naboot, who's been in great form himself, firing the ball in. Awkward height for the Wanderers defence. Another corner to defend.
And when Naboot plays this season, City are perfect. 6 appearances for 6 wins. Berenguer delivers. Time Duke was back lending a hand. Time to get Tom Glover involved. Noon getting away from Duke, putting it out in front of Atkinson. Good battle here, and Natter just worried him out of it cleverly.
Yeah, he read that well, Natter. He's been really impressive, actually. Enjoyed watching him play. He's a rival on the scene. Growing in stature game by game. He's got a great temperament, lovely left foot.
Just 18 years of age. One of those players that Carl Robinson was referring to in his pre-game interview, saying there were 3 players that perhaps most had never heard of before the season began, who are now nailing down spots in the starting 11. Curtis Good, the left footer, gives great balance to City. Playing himself right back into Socceroos calculations after a long absence at that level. Space for Jamison, as there often is down that left-hand side. Now Naboot taking on Russell, and all hands on deck. Ziggy Gordon heading clear. Abini turned around and almost caused a bit of panic at the back for City. What about that? And Naboot again. The strike this time was stinging the palms of Daniel Margouche, who's reading the riot act to his teammates right now.
Oh, no one appealed. Was there any hint of using the hand there to control it off the peck? And once he sets sight on goal, though, he just uses all his power. Summoned every available ounce there, and it was good seeing to by Margush to deflect away for another corner.
Driven by Noon. Griffiths gets on the end of things this time, and Margush under no pressure. Beat the Mariners here on Monday night, Melbourne City. Comprehensive 2-0 success. Now looking to back it up on the Friday. The Wanderers have been slow starters this season quite often in the opening exchanges, but then they can turn it on, and here's a sloppy mistake from Curtis Good that allows Duke to release Abini, and whipping one across the face. No touch off City. Goal kick.
It was the first real error from Melbourne City. It's a lovely, lovely through ball from Duke. City defence recovered well.
Bacchus moving it on to Abini. Troisi. Quiet so far, like many of the Western Sydney attackers. Gave away the penalty last time these teams met. For City to seal it. Archie Thompson, how would you sum up the way Carl Robinson is reacting to this early onslaught for his team?
Well, look, I think when the ball goes out wide, especially Craig Noon and Andrew Naboot, you can see that they want them to close that space, so it almost doesn't allow those players to run it, the defence. But look, for Melbourne City, I actually was listening to the warm-up and just before they ran into the change rooms, and it was Scott Jamieson who was saying to the group, you need to be hungry. We want to see you hungry. Every single player needs to be hungry. And this is the start that was expected just because what I've seen from the warm-up.
Certainly hit the ground running. 7 wins in this campaign, 4 defeats, no draws, 21 points to their credit through 11 games. Free scoring of late. Luna wide to Noon. Will open up, but in the end Bacchus was in the road. Keep on stroking these passes around from one side to the other. It's easy to watch the way Melbourne City are playing, and Naboot, can he bend it all the way back? He can, and Margush did just enough with the outstretched right hand. It's relentless from City, 15 minutes in. Claren gets a rare touch, trying to bounce it back towards Noon. Typically robust fashion. Mentioned the Amy Park record for the Wanderers. Not a whole lot of joy at this venue, and a few of the players are struggling to adjust to the slippery surface, which can be an issue for visiting teams. They did travel to Victoria for all 3 points recently against Western United in Ballarat. And here they come in good numbers. Wanderer goes down and screams for a penalty. Ball was never going to get to him, and Abini's shot is an ordinary one, and Troisi's just looking at Nathaniel Atkinson saying, how about a penalty for me this time?
Well, I was pinged for an arm away from the body. VAR awarded penalty last time we met. How about someone spool back on the tape and see the foul committed against me, says James Troisi. The first moment, 15 minutes in, and the Wanderers have had it within themselves to actually play some of their football. They've pretty much been chasing shadows in the opening quarter hour. Not really any answer defensively. Stopping the movement of the ball from side to side, but more importantly, once those diagonal balls have found their mark, the penetration that's come thereafter, and Melbourne City being able to get right at the Wanderers' penalty area. The Wanderers just have not been able to turn them away, really.
Just one win in their past 7 attempts against tonight's opposition. There's a slip from the boot. He winds up nutmegging Duke. And a little proppy after that 50-50. The Wanderers start. Poor giveaway by Bacchus. Bounce back in to try and win it back. Troisi looking for Abini's speed, and Glover plays sweeper keeper. This front three for the Wanderers has been menacing at times for opposition in recent weeks. Abini and Duke up top. Troisi trying to pull the strings in behind. McLaren drops deep to get involved in the attack. Can often be on the periphery and then pop up where he's needed most. Jamison cut back, looking for McLaren, and will settle for a corner instead.
You see that defensive set from the Wanderers. I can't understand why the front three were just so passive. There was neither a press on the defenders carrying the ball. They were just sort of like witches' hats. You called McLaren dropping off the line to receive the ball, but those 3 players were nullified with 1 forward pass. Melbourne City aren't allowing the Wanderers to do that.
And the header from Jamie McLaren, and everyone a little stunned that it's well wide of the target.
And it sort of highlights where the Wanderers are at the moment, not quite at the races, but Jamie McLaren, outstanding striker, there's no question, but he's hardly a towering giant of a man. Edge of the 6-yard box, direct contact from a corner. They've got to do better defensively, the Wanderers.
Good, put under pressure by Abini. McLaren right alongside Archie Thompson on 90 A-League goals. Shane Smeltz next above them on 92, and then it's Bessar Berisha a long way clear. Wanderers trying to get the press happening here, and they win it back high up the pitch through Wilmering. Early service for Duke. Abini back post, and the header from Western Sydney absorbed all of that pressure in the opening 20 minutes, and then they show their class. Bernie Abini, didn't he rise for the emphatic header, his 34th A-League goal? And who saw this scoreline coming about 5 minutes ago? It's Western Sydney on top.
No one saw it 30 seconds ago. But play credit to Daniel Wilmering. He's the one who read this. He's the one who pressed. He pulled the trigger. Who's coming? Great leadership from the youngster. Then he wins the ball, feeds Duke, who drops in a beautiful, beautiful cross. And Abini against Jamison is too good and too strong from that range. It's a really powerful header from Bernie Abini, himself in good form. But to say this one's against the run of the play is one of the great understatements.
Great stuff from Western Sydney, looking for their 4th win in a row. And they average 1.7 goals a game against Melbourne City down the years, which is the most Melbourne City concede against any opponent.
I was talking to an A-League coach during the week. As you do in these things, you chew the fat about football, etc.
City looking to hit straight back. Awkward for Natta. Improvised cleverly.
This particular coach's view was the best thing to do against Melbourne City is to press them. To press them. And the Wanderers hadn't really done that, but again, massive credit to Daniel Wilmering. It was a great read by the youngster.
There's Jamison. And Noon making room for the cross. Right in the middle, Adrian Luna could have headed it either side of Margush, but put it right onto the JD sponsor logo.
A really dangerous moment. Wonderful from Noon. Yeah, it's a good cross. Again, Luna finding the space. Just given, well, both the youngsters, Natta and Wilmering, both a wrap in the opening stages of this game. They were both a little asleep at the wheel then. Very fortunate for the Wanderers.
Bernie Abini, who had all those offside dramas in the last game against Perth, had all those goals chalked off, is a goal scorer tonight. And look what it means on the live ladder. They'll join the Mariners on 25 points. They are the first team to play 14 games this season, Western Sydney. Mariners in action tomorrow night against the Victory, of course. The boot still looking dangerous. Adrian Luna tried to find an angle towards Atkinson, but the Wanderers had the numbers. And here's the pace of Abini again. Good. Trying to keep him at bay. Just got across in time. Clever. Duke makes his move in the middle. And Troisi couldn't quite find him. It was on.
Had promised, didn't it? Wonderful, wonderful, great stuff, Troisi and Abini. A lovely ball in. Well, almost a lovely ball. It's only really a lovely ball if it finds a target. But it had so much promise about it.
Archie Thompson, everyone inside the stadium seems to be getting to terms with the scoreline right now.
Yeah, I am too, but what Andy Harper mentioned about the press, it's like they were almost sitting off and waiting for that ball to go out wide, and Daniel Wilmering makes a beautiful intercept, but they were so great in punishing. And one thing I've actually noticed is that Abini's the one that's sort of sitting in that high position. We're used to seeing Mitchell Duke, and whether that's just capitalising on the speed, we've seen the way that they are. What a wonderful touch that was, by the way, but the way they break.
Takes a lot to take Archie Thompson's breath away, but Mitch Duke just did that. Saw a similar control from Reno Piscopo the other night in Wollongong for Wellington's opening goal. They play their way through the aggressive press there, Melbourne City, and look early for McLaren. And Margush summed it up well in flight.
Well, the touch is great, but head set, the hamstring flexibility is what makes my eyes water.
I was thinking the same thing. It was a test for Mitch Duke as well. No damage done. Others would have ripped it off the bone, mere mortals, that is. Asking the referee about the challenge from behind by Ziggy Gordon. So the sequence of 13 unanswered goals comes to an end for Melbourne City. They're in an unfamiliar position of late, trying to come from behind. Dragged down by Tate Russell. 2-0 win over the Wanderers, 6-0 over the Victory, 3-0 over Macarthur, 2-0 over the Mariners, and now 1-0 down against Western Sydney. Griffiths trying to flight one towards Noon. Referee waved off any thoughts of a free kick there, and Duke has one around the corner. Troisi was trying to help it onto Abini.
One thing the Wanderers are doing really nicely now that they're getting into a little bit of a swing, and it's on the right and the left, and because depending on, that's a handball, no, depending on whether it's Atkinson pushing into the centre, as we've seen City do, or Scott Jamieson, Mitch Duke, James Troisi, Bernie Abini, if they're carrying the ball just inside the half and just towards the sideline, they just cut the ball over their shoulder into the vacant space left by the fullback. They're prepared for that well, and the front line for the Wanderers are just in great attacking nick at the moment.
Griffiths just barged through the back of Abini. Free kick taken quickly, and Wilmering has pushed on. Hangs it up. Abini can rise again, and no one there across the face. Isn't he causing Melbourne City's defence headaches now?
And how good is it to see a young Aussie fullback who's consistently high-quality crossing is a feature. Wilmering hits way more good ones than duds, and it's unfortunately not something we say that often. And he's got a really good completion rate. He hits a beautiful ball into the box. He's found Kamau for 2 goals from that sort of play already this season. It's a wonderful part of his game.
Glover, that's coolly done. Good, and Griffiths now on notice after coughing up that goal. Now Noon. He had Ziggy Gordon in a spin for a moment. Adrian Luna lifting it in towards Berenguer, and was he offside? Wanderers appealed for a little shove on Russell as well, but it's play on for City. Natta's header dragged down by McLaren, who couldn't keep his shot down.
Not to be advised that, young Mark Natta. A little bit in a twist as the ball came over. No damage done in the end. I'd be surprised if his heart just skipped a little beat there when he sees where his head has ended up.
Captain, right in the heart of defence, Dylan McGowan. Russell. What he was after against Jamieson, who's talking it over with the ball boy. Maybe a future Daniel Wilmering. Boot. Release Atkinson. Dorrans was tracking that run. McLaren has been spotted. And he's throwing his weight around here. McLaren plays for the penalty. Alex King has a good look at it and gives Melbourne City nothing. Now it's over to VAR as City take on the strike through Naboots, and he kept it down. Well wide of Margusha's goal. What does VAR say about this?
Well, he's just ferreted away here magnificently. He had a little clip there, Natta, too. That's a naughty one. Can't see if there's any contact. So he sailed pretty close to the wind.
Plays for the corner here and gets it. The ricochet spotted by the referee, Alex King. He waved off that penalty appeal. If there was contact, McLaren took a long time to go down, and that would have played against him. Beanie tried to help it on. Atkinson would have been stranded had he done
totally,
so.
That's the word, Speedy. He would have looked anchored. Any touch at all there from Bernie was a great idea, just couldn't execute. Then the question would have been how far off his line in protecting that sort of ball was Tommy Glover. Moot point now, it's play on, but there's the foul.
Just hold fire on that whistle, and I was away. Free kick has been taken quickly, and Daniel Margush is caught out. The equaliser for Melbourne City, and Craig Noon, with some quick thinking, has made it 1-1 and taught Daniel Margush a lesson. You don't see this kind of goal too often in modern day football.
Well, it's a goal that Melbourne City certainly deserved. I'm not sure if that's one that Daniel Margush particularly deserves, given his start to the game and his season, but certainly Melbourne City, good for their goal. Great thinking from the informed Englishman, the affable Scouser, the quick thinker. 1-1.
Bit going on between the two coaches. Harking back to Carrow Road days, as the Norwich City midfielder of yesteryear goes on with the former Leicester City hard man at the back. You don't see Carl Robinson fire up too often, Archie Thompson.
Yes, Speedy, I'm right in front of this. I tell you what, Carl Robinson was really upset about the way that even Jamie McLaren went down. He was actually saying that he was a cheater and was yelling out over to Paddy Casnorbo, and Paddy Casnorbo didn't like anything of that. And I tell you what, there was a Costa Zoo fight coming soon. I thought this one's was going to erupt.
Yeah, put this one on main event, maybe the undercard to the Tim Zoo fight against Hogan coming up.
Enough's enough. Keep going this way.
Kisnorbo turned 40 a couple of days ago, but he's not going to get a card for his 41st from Carl Robinson the way this one is unfolding. We expected goals between these two tonight. We've got them 1-1. Less than 35 minutes in. That not sure where Margush was trying to set up his wall. He was out on the edge of his 6-yard box.
Well, just to Archie, was there any sense communicated by Carl Robinson that the free kick was taken too quickly?
No, it was
Had
more...
the referee indicated any other way?
No, it was more about the foul on Jamie McLaren. He was really upset about that, and then I think the way that even again Jamie McLaren went down, he almost signalled to Paddy Casnorbo in so many words, you cheater, and then obviously Paddy Casnorbo didn't like any of that, and that's where that confrontation was, but nothing to do with the actual free kick going early.
And remember, it was Jamie McLaren who was complaining about not having advantage for that free kick. Boy, did Melbourne City have the ultimate advantage a few seconds later. Just a few more talking points in Friday night football.
Then they're never enough. And you want your heavyweights caring about the tight calls. You want all the teams. You don't necessarily want it to get out of control, but the passion, the focus sometimes does spill over. The Wanderers would have been completely mindful that their goal came against the run of play, but from that point, They became a really good proposition in the contest.
Berenguer under immense pressure from Bacchus. Turned his way out of trouble. Moon looking early. Doran's able to tidy up and use that cultured left boot of Natta. Troisi coming all the way back for the foul against Mitch Duke instead. And Troisi's thinking, I'll just have a shot from here if the keeper's off his line. You don't see too many referees let that go, Andy, the quickly taken free kick. Melbourne Victory used to be really good at it at this venue, even back to the Olympic Park days when Kevin Muscat and a certain Archie Thompson would get on the end of things. Arch, how long did you work on that kind of chemistry with Muskie, and how long has it been since you've seen one?
Well, you know that sometimes defensive teams switch off in those sort of situations, so we worked hard on it, and look, a lot of times it didn't work or it got blown back because there was no whistle. But I remember against Sydney FC, it was us to go into a grand final, and that's the way we did it. We've scored a few times like that. It's just that the defenders aren't aware of what's happening because they're trying to get into their structures, so it's always so good to take things nice and early.
Bacchus, bit of space, and he's seen the late run made here by Russell, who scored his first goal against Melbourne City in the A-League at this place, and he made up the ground to get on the end of things there.
That's a great effort by the youngsters. Bacchus did well, great run from Russell.
So here's the free kick. McLaren, not a whole lot in that, was there? But the free kick was spotted. Ziggy Gordon saying, who, me? And then the ball goes back. Craig Noon is just having a little glance over the shoulder, seeing where the keeper is. Can I take this quick? Can I take this quick? To the ref, he says, sure you can. And Margush never saw it coming. And no one has a better rapport with players than Alex King. And the game's all the better for it. Some of the refs wouldn't have even heard the discussion that Craig Noon was providing there. Ref, can I take the free kick? Sure you can. And we've got a goal out of it for Melbourne City. And the boots. Oh, trying to trick his way through a couple. Ulrich strokes it out to Troisi, and the Wanderers just broken up there by Roston Griffiths, and that would have been part of the plan, you've sensed.
And what about that delightful bit of capoeira skill from Mitch Duke? Here we go. Whoopsie, look at that. Mate, he's breakdancing on the footy field. The Dukester.
Tate Russell dancing around the City goal scorer. Beautiful, deft pass, and he continued his running behind. Beanie couldn't find the passing lane, but now he does. Run back by Metcalf. Russell just knocked off the ball by Noon cleverly there. Good battle between those two. Space opening up here though. Tate Russell had gone forward. Noon delivers, and Wilmering told away, and he obliged.
Danger there, really nice ball forward to Craig Noon, and Russell was out of position, and to be frank, didn't really show a massive physical effort to get back and close Noon down.
Berenguer from that short corner routine that City love. Little foot in there by Metcalf could have caused some dramas, and I think McLaren is the one that it did cause dramas too, because he wasn't happy with Metcalf's intervention there, I think. So getting back to Carl Robinson's point about the foul that was actually awarded to McLaren. Now we've seen the replay. Do you think he's got a fair point?
Well, I haven't heard exactly what his point is.
Well, Archie made the point that McLaren shouldn't have been entitled to a free kick.
I don't know that it was a free kick.
In that tussle with Ziggy Gordon.
I don't know that it was a free kick.
And they've scored from it.
I don't know that it was a free kick, but I'm not going to hang Jamie McLaren out to dry, or if that's the point.
No, the point is the free kick should never have been given by the ref. And then he gave the quickly taken free kick. Archie Thompson, you've seen the replay now. What do you make of it all?
Look, I don't know, actually. I'm with Harps. I feel like that it was a foul, and you know, it was just taken quickly. But
Andrew in the boots again, trying to squeeze it into that near post, and Margush across smartly.
Yeah, the defenders in the league, right fullback, left fullback, they're finding it really difficult at the moment to deal with Andrew in the boots. Drop of the shoulder and quick, sharp shift of the ball. But it's the job description when you're playing against him.
Will it be 8th corner lucky in this first half? Again, the Wanderers deal with it. Berenguer from the next phase. Metcalf, that's a lovely win ahead of Bacchus. And Berenguer around Dorrans, right underneath it.
And that's hugely disappointing, because having made the space so beautifully, profiting from the excellent work of Connor Metcalf to win the ball back quickly for Melbourne City. Berenguer with a lovely bit of footwork to make the space, but then his technique left him when he needed it most.
Second ball back on the pitch here, and Margush is appealing for that. Now he won't, because the Wanderers are away through Natta. Tracy tried the little drag flick for Duke, who might have been offside, and it worked its way through. Berenguer coming more and more into the game. Lovely passing again from City. And Luna, it was awkward. It was dipping, and that second ball was still on the pitch. Surely someone could have dealt with that a little earlier.
In the interim, you'd reckon, but it was a nice hit from Luna. Well dealt with by Margush. They made this play so nicely, Melbourne City. And the ball swirling around. Margush beating it away. Good goalkeeping.
There's another variation from City. Atkinson trying to place it on his wrong side.
And he had time. He's been in fantastic form as well, but again, his technique lets him down. He had plenty of time to thread that into that far corner and ask the ultimate question of Daniel Margush.
Won't be a whole lot of stoppage time. Found 2 minutes. I suppose that's added for the referee sorting out that stoush between the two coaches. Given away by Bacchus. Trying to make amends, and he'll get lucky as McLaren backheeled it onto his own boot. Again, it was a little slip from a Wanderers player that led to a turnover of possession. Oh, Ziggy Gordon, all action. And a flying header clear. or two for his troubles. Had a choice of free kicks there against Troisi or Ziggy Gordon. Noon coming across. No sign that this one will be taken quickly. They've had a stack of set pieces, Melbourne City. Haven't done much with the corners. And Berenguer drops it into a dangerous spot. Margush clear, and a boot. Trying to keep it alive, and it ricochets out off Dorrans for another corner.
Been a massive feature of this first half, right from the first minute. The number of corners. This free kick was slung in, and the Wanderers scrambled well.
So we're past the minimum amount of stoppage time here. Just enough time found by the referee for one final corner. Noon towards that near post, and that'll do us. Once again, so many talking points in a first half of football here in Friday night football. Bernie Abini popped up 20 minutes in after the Wanderers had absorbed all of that early pressure. Beautiful header made it 1-0 to the visitors, and then a quickly taken free kick that they're still talking about now from Craig Noon created the equaliser. Daniel Margush was just talking to the referee Alex King, and now it's the captain's turn. Dylan McGowan going into bat and trying to work out how that all unfolded. All to play for in the second half. At the break, it is 1-1. Down to Archie.
Thanks, Petey. Mates, you didn't have to do much leading up until that goal. It must be disappointing to concede the way you did. Obviously, the mistake out here wide.
Yeah, you know, it's coming out mistake, but, you know, we've got to move on and push on to the second half now.
And with the goal, is that something you worked on? I mean, it was a quickly taken free kick.
No, we didn't work on that. No, he's just swimming quick and he's caught him off his line, so, yeah, fair play.
OK, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Stick around after the break. Join myself, Michael Zapponi, to go over the first half highlights between the two informed A-League clubs of the competition, Melbourne City